Good morning, sir.
Okay. So this morning, we are going to look at one of the important topic in public sector accounting. It is called emerging issues in Nigeria public sectors. Emerging issues in Nigeria's public sectors. This topic centered on public finance, public financial management. Emerging issue in Nigeria public sector centered on public finance, financial management in Nigeria. So one of the emerging issues, let's talk, before we look at those emerging issues, let's talk about public financial management in Nigeria. What is public financial management? We can define public financial management as a measures put in place by government to control public fund. The measures put in place by governments to control public funds is called public financial management. So a lot of reform have been carried out by the government in the past to ensure that public funds is controlled. We have a lot of public financial management reform. So one of the last reform that was done was in 2018. So all these are public financial management reforms. And one of the key objectives of all these public financial management reform is to ensure transparency and accountability in the public sector. Transparency and accountability in public sector is one of the key objectives of public financial management reform. Aside that, we can look at principles of public financial management reform. We have principles of democratic consent. That means taxation and spending should not be done without explicit concept of the government. That means government, the executive cannot spend money without approval from the legislative. Principles of equities too. Government should treat people equal. The lower income earner, the higher income earner should be treated equally. Principles of transparency. Government spending should be open to the public. Government should give account on how they spend their money. There should be reports, transparency reports. So some of these are the principles of public financial management. What are the factors influencing public financial management reform in Nigeria? Factors influencing public sector reform in Nigeria. One of those factors influencing public sector reform in Nigeria is coordination across governments. Coordination across governments. What does this mean? This means that every government ministry, agency, department must be coordinated, must be properly coordinated. There must be an established structures of government. there must be an established what? Structure of government. That structure must be properly followed. Technical capacity. What does technical capacity mean? Those who manage the affairs of government must have an experience and skills to manage the operation of government. They must have the technical capacity, the knowledge, skills, and experience to manage the affairs. So, availability of resources. Government must have financial resources. Financial resources must be available. That means government resources must be the resources for government to carry out an action, for government to implement a project, they must have the financial resources. So financial resources is one of the preview for economic development in Nigeria. Now, let's look at tools of public financial management. These tools of public financial management, they are the one called emerging issues in Nigeria public sectors. If you look at ICAN Park, we will see them as emerging issues in Nigeria public sector. So if you are asked what are the emerging issues in Nigeria public sector, these are the tools of public financial management. These are the instruments that will ensure financial viability. So these instruments, we have them in different forms. All these instruments will ensure financial viability. So they are the emerging issue. Number one emerging issue in the Nigeria public sector is called Treasury Single Account, TSA. Treasury Single Account is one of the emerging issues in Nigeria public sector. We have another one called Automated Accounting Transaction Recording and Reporting System. Automated accounting transactions and automated accounting transaction recording and reporting system is also one of the emerging issues in Nigeria public sector. We have another one called Integrated Personnel Payroll Information System. Integrated Personnel Payroll Information System. This is also one of the emerging issues in Nigeria public sectors. Aside that, we also have Government Integrated Financial Management System, GIFIMS. Government Integrated Financial Management System, GIFIMS. This is one of the emerging issues in Nigeria public sector. Aside that, we also have University Transparency Accountability Solution. University Transparency Accountability Solution. UTAS. This is also one of the emerging issues in Nigeria public sector. We have another one called Open Treasury Portals. Open Treasury Portals. This is also one of the emerging issues in Nigeria public sectors. While we have the last one called National Chart of Accounts. National what? chart of account. National chart of account. This is also one of the emerging issues in Nigeria public sector. The abbreviation of National Chart of Account is called NCOA. NCOA. So these are all the emerging issues in Nigeria public sector. So ladies and gentlemen, from the review of ICAN syllabus and ICAN pack, I can categorically say that most of the question in most of the diets, at least 15 mark question, 15 mark question normally come from this area. They can ask you on TSA, Treasury Single Account. They can ask on ATRRS. They can ask on Integrated Personnel Payroll Information System. They can ask on GIFINS. They can ask on UTAS. They can ask on NCOA. 15 mark question normally come from this area. In most of the diet, I'm not saying all the diet, but when you take a question of 5 diets, out of the 5 diets, 3 of the diets, questions centered on emerging issue in Nigeria public sector, we come out 3 times out of 5 diets, and there will be like 15 mark. Do you understand? Like last diet, I don't think question relating to this area come out. So definitely in this diet, there may be some level of guarantee that question will come out 1 out of this area. 1 out of this 7 area will come out. So let's take note of that. So now let's look at Treasury Single Account. Treasury Single Account. What do you understand by Treasury Single Account? Treasury Single Account was introduced in 2004 as part of financial management reform. It is part of public sector financial management reform introduced in 2004. This Treasury Single Account, it is a bank account, and this bank account is domiciled in CBN. And it links all government transactions together. That means a single account that captures all federal government receipts and payments. Where Treasury Single Account, TSA, is an account where all federal government receipts and payments are captured in a set of linked account or in a single account. That is called TSA. Prior to introduction of TSA, federal government of Nigeria, they have more than thousands of bank accounts with different commercial banks in the country. NPA will have its own bank account, maybe like 100 bank accounts. FAN will have its own bank account, maybe like 50 bank accounts. NIMASA will have its own bank accounts. NNPC will have its own bank account. All different government agencies, they have their own bank account in different commercial banks. Most of these commercial banks, they are using federal government funds as one of their cash cow, where they get most of their profits because of bank charges, lending of money, and so on like that. And for the purpose of audit purpose, for government to have like 3,000 bank accounts, I'm talking of federal government, or more than More than 5,000 bank accounts. University of Lagos will have its own bank account. What do we do? Audit purpose will not be possible. Audit, for the purpose of audit, if federal government want to audit, it make the audit not to be easy. So the federal government don't find it very easy to audit all those accounts. As a result of that, in 2004, they now agreed, this bank account we are having with commercial bank, let's go and close it. Let's have our own unified bank account. And this unified bank account is going to be controlled, monitored by who? By CBN. That unified bank account is called TSA. That unified bank account is called TSA. So it is being monitored and controlled by CBN. All the bank accounts owned by the federal government, ministry, department, agency, and parastatals, federal government have to mandate them that they should go and close the account and they should send the money to the TSA. So as I'm talking to you right now, if you want to pay any federal government agency, you have to pay them through TSA. No federal government agency, even teaching hospital, that will have bank account that you will go and pay in commercial bank. UBA, we are using UBA bank account. We are using First Bank account. No. When you want to pay any federal government agency, you have to pay through what? TSA. Is one of the reforms to ensure that public financial management is protected, to ensure that we block loopholes in the public sector fund, to ensure that there is no diversion of government revenue. So this is what TSA centered on. Now, for the sake of time, what are the objectives of TSA? Why do we introduce TSA? One of the objectives of TSA is to ensure that sufficient cash is available as at when needed to meet payment commitments. Sufficient cash is available as at when needed to meet payment commitment. This is one of the objectives of TSA. Another objective of TSA is to do what? Is to control the aggregate of cash flow within the fiscal, monetary, and legal limits. To control the aggregate of cash flow within the fiscal, monetary, and legal limits. Somebody asked a question, said, can we say TSA is also like remitter transaction, like how some institutions use? Yes. Before you can make payment through TSA, we have a payment gateway. One of the payment gateway to TSA is called remitter. You have to generate a reference number called RRR. You cannot just make transfer to TSA. It is from a reference number issued to you by remitter that payment can be made to TSA RRR. Another objective of TSA is to improve management of government domestic borrowing program. To improve management of government domestic program. This is one of the objectives of TSA. Why another objective of TSA is to enhance operating of efficiency through provision of high quality service at minimum cost. To enhance operating efficiency through provision of high quality service at minimum cost. Another objective of TSA is also to invest idle cash or excess cash. To invest idle cash or excess cash. Why another objective is to ensure greater accountability in public expenditures. To ensure greater what? Accountability in public expenditures. TSA has two models. We have pure TSA model. This pure TSA model captured all deposit and payment transaction through a single bank account. And we have a decentralized TSA model. This is what is currently used by government. This one, separate account in commercial bank or central bank with zero balance overnight. Each of the ministry, department, agency, they have their own sub-TSA account, but it is domiciled in CBN. When you want to make payment to Unilag, you have to make payment to Unilag sub-TSA account because Unilag have a payment code. Their payment code is the identification of their sub-TSA account. Now, for the sake of time, what are the reasons for introduction of TSA? That means, why do we introduce TSA? Before we introduce TSA, we have been facing a lot of challenges. Why we introduce TSA? TSA want to address those challenges we have been facing in public financial management. So one of the reasons for introduction of TSA is inability of government to determine their cash position at any time. Government, before they introduce TSA, they cannot know what is their cash balance. That means their total cash balance, how much they are having in a bank at every point in time. But through introduction of TSA, it is very easy to determine what government have in their bank account, because that bank account is maintained by who? By remitter. The bank account is maintained by CBN, sorry. So one of the reasons for introduction of TSA is inability of government to determine cash position at any point in time. Another one is unlimited commercial bank account. Unlimited what? Commercial bank account maintained by MDA. One of the reasons why they introduced this TSA is all these ministry, department, and agency, MDA, they have different thousands of bank accounts that they maintain. Unlimited bank account maintained by MDA. Thousands of bank accounts is being maintained by this ministry, department, and agency. So another reason for introduction of TSA, another reason for introduction of TSA is because of growing domestic borrowing, growing domestic debt and borrowing. Because of government keep on borrowing money. They borrowed money, a lot of overdraft. Most of the government ministry, they will collect overdrafts from commercial bank, domestic borrowing. They keep on borrowing money. But now, for a government ministry to borrow money with commercial bank, it is very rare. Unlike prior to introduction of TSA, we have a lot of domestic borrowing by the commercial bank by the MDA from the commercial bank. Another one, idle cash. One of the reasons why we introduced TSA, reason for introduction of TSA, is because we have too much of idle cash in MDA, unspent cash. This idle cash, bank is using them for their own business. They will be borrowing people government money. Bank will be using them for their own business. So this is one of the reasons for introduction of TSA. Another reason for introduction of TSA is most of the bank that government keep money, some of those banks can liquidate at any time. Government as a whole, federal government, they have lost nothing less than 100 billions naira to some of these distressed bank, some of these failed commercial bank that liquidate. So all these are the reasons for introduction of TSA. Now, let's look at benefits associated with TSA. What benefit do we tend to derive from TSA? What benefit are we going to derive from TSA? One of the benefits associated with TSA is TSA provide complete and timely information on government financial cash resources. TSA provide complete and timely information on government cash resources. Another one, TSA support efficient cash management. TSA support efficient cash management. TSA also reduce bank charges and transactional costs maintained by NDA. Since ministry department agency, they don't have bank account with MDA again, they will not be paying bank charges or transactional costs to this commercial bank. Most of the commercial bank, a lot of bank charges that they charge government while maintaining account with them. But with the introduction of TSA, this will save government money. They will not be paying bank charges or transaction costs again. TSA, another advantage. Another benefit of TSA. TSA facilitates efficient payment mechanism. TSA facilitates efficient payment mechanism. TSA, another benefit is also improve bank reconciliation. It is very easy to do bank reconciliation of government bank account since those bank accounts are domiciled in CBN. TSA also improve liquidity of government. TSA also improve liquidity of government. Government, they will have much fund for their working capital. TSA reduce overdraft. Government will not be collecting overdraft from commercial bank. It's another benefit. TSA also align with CBN cashless policy. TSA also align with CBN cashless policies. This is also one of the benefits of TSA. TSA also prevent and detect potential and actual fraud. TSA prevents and detects potential and actual fraud. This is one of the benefits of TSA. TSA also block leakages in government revenue generation. TSA block leakages in government revenue generation. TSA improve transparency and accountability of federal government receipts. TSA improve transparency and accountability of federal government receipts. TSA improve transparency and accountability of all federal government receipts. So all these are the benefits associated with TSA. What are the challenges of TSA? What challenges do we face from the implementation of this TSA? What challenges associated with TSA? What can we say is the challenges affecting operation of TSA? One of the challenges we face while using TSA is the fee charged by the service provider. Who are the service provider in the TSA? Who provide service in the TSA? Who provide the payment gateway in the TSA? The remitter, NIBBS, Remitted Unified Payment System, they are the service provider. When you want to make payment to TSA, you want to make payment. Take, for instance, you want to pay 100,000 naira to a government ministry. This service provider will charge you fee. They will charge you transaction fee. Who is going to pay the fee? Is the payer somebody that wants to pay for that transaction? It's not by government. Government does not make budget for transaction costs of this fund in the budget. They don't make payment, they don't make provision for it. So the fee charged by the service provider is deducted at source. That means somebody paying for the service, somebody paying government will be the one to also pay the fee charged by remitter. If you want to pay 100,000, you cannot pay 100,000. They will add like 1,000 as the service cost that will be collected by remitter. So it's a challenge. It's an additional cost to the public. I want to pay tax to government. I want to pay 500,000 tax. Government is also asking me that the gateway I want to use to pay them, I'm going to pay those gateway, which is remitter. It's an additional cost to me. It's an additional cost. How am I paying you, also paying the means of paying you? Another challenges of TSA is lack of unified service agreement among stakeholders. When TSA started initially, there is no service level agreement between government and remitter. But as it is right now, I think these challenges have been addressed by the government. Another challenges of TSA is some NDA, some ministry, department, and agency, through backdoor, through dubious way, through corruption, they still have some commercial bank account, hidden commercial bank account in all these banks. They still have bank account that they maintain with commercial bank, but those bank account is hidden with all these commercial banks. So they are still using this commercial bank to siphon government money through some hidden accounts, which during the audit, some of them are discovered, despite government order that all the commercial bank, all the bank account owned by the NDA should be closed. Some NDA still refuse to do that. They still have some hidden bank accounts. Poor internet connectivity is also another challenge of TSA. Poor internet connectivity is another challenge of TSA. So this is one of the challenges of TSA. Another one, resistance by some NDA. Some NDA. Let's talk about this poor internet connectivity. Sometimes when you want to make payment to TSA through remitter, the server may be down, or you may not have good internet. This can affect the internet may not be stable. So this will affect the payment to that TSA account. So another one is resistance by some NDA. Resistance by what? Some NDA. Some NDA, they don't want it to work. They don't want it to work. They are resisting it. They are doing what? Resisting it. They don't want it to work because they prefer having their bank account with commercial bank so that they can be diverting the money. They can be stealing money. So they don't want it to work. Another one is inadequate sensitization. When they want to implement TSA, the public are not adequately sensitized. They did not create much awareness on how TSA will work. So a lot of issues is affecting this. So inadequate sensitization is one of the challenges of TSA. Why another challenges of TSA is diversion of tax revenue. Diversion of tax revenue. A lot of revenue of government is being diverted by commercial bank with this TSA. Some of those who are making payment to TSA, they don't know how to operate it. They will give money to some of the staff of commercial bank. Please, you want to make payment to this here, help us make the payment. The staff may divert the revenue, may divert the fund. They won't make the payment on time. They will sometimes They may even give them fake receipts. So diversion of tax revenue is one of the challenges affecting TSA. Another one is different IT platform. We have different IT platforms that you can make payment to TSA. Remitter is there. GIF, MIS is there. We have NIBBS. So a lot of different payment platforms. Some of them are prone to they don't have data protection security on their platform. So some of the data of the users is being stolen by some dubious people. So this is one of the challenges of TSA. Another challenges of TSA is overextension of CBN capacity. Now, you are saying CBN should be the one to monitor government bank accounts, all government receipt and payments. You are diverting CBN from their supervision and regulation role. You are giving them additional role. This role you are giving them, maintaining TSA account, this may affect them from performing their supervision and regulation role because you are extending their capacity. So the supervision and regulation role may be lacking because of these issues. Another challenges of TSA is unethical practice by some banks. On what? Unethical practice by some banks. We have another one called internet hacking or cyber crime. Internet hacking or cyber crime. Some of the fraudsters may hack the server of remitter to deduct information about payments made by some particular persons so that they can be using it as a means of penetrating to their bank account. So this is one of the challenges of TSA. Now, let's look at components of TSA. TSA has two components. One is called e-payments, while the second one is called e-collection. TSA has two components. One is called e-payments. Another one is called e-collection. E-payment was implemented in 2012, and it has 3 payment components. This e-payment was implemented in 2012. We still talk about it. E-collection started in 2015. E-collection commenced in 2015. E-collection commenced in 2015. E-payment is used by government to pay their contractor, to pay salaries, to pay for service render, to pay debt, to pay some other thing. Why e-collection is used to collect government money, to collect federal government receipt, to collect tax, to collect duties, to collect fees, to collect donations, and so on like that. So what are the objectives of e-payments? What are the objectives of e-payments? One of the objectives of e-payment is to avoid borrowing and paying additional charges to finance expenditure of NDA. Ladies and gentlemen, this objective of e-payment is as well as objective of TSA. Objective of e-collection is as well as objective of TSA, because TSA is divided into two components: e-payment and what? E-collection. So when you talk about objective of e-payment, you are also referring to objective of TSA, because e-payment is one aspect of TSA. Another objective of e-payment is to minimize transaction costs. Another objective is to rapid payment of expenses. Why another objective is to facilitate reconciliation. Facilitation of reconciliation is another objective of e-payments. To support monetary policy implementation is also another objective of e-payments. Objective of e-collection. What are the objectives of e-collection? Is to ensure compliance with relevant provision of the Constitution. To ensure what? Compliance with relevant provision of the 1999 Constitution. So to ensure total compliance with relevant provision of 1999 Constitution. This is one of the objectives of what? E-collection. Another objective of e-collection that we have is to collect and remit all revenue due to the Federation account and Consolidated Revenue Fund. Why another objective of e-collection is to block all leakages in government revenue generation. To block all leakages in government what? Revenue generation, collection, and remittance. Another objective of e-collection is to align with CBN cashless policy. To align with what? CBN cashless policy. Why another objective is to ease the burden of revenue payers. Is to ease the burden of revenue payers. These are the objectives of. Now, let's look at benefits of e-payment. Benefit of e-payment is the same thing as benefit of TSA. Benefit of e-collection is the same thing as benefit of TSA, because e-payment is a component of TSA. E-collection is a component of TSA. So all the benefit of TSA we have looked at the beginning of this lecture, we can divide those benefits into two. One of them is what? E-payment, while another one is what? E-collection. Yes, you can hear me. Okay, sorry, there is an interruption. So we are on benefit of e-payment. like I said, benefit of e-payment is the same thing as benefit of TSA. It's the same thing as what? Benefit of TSA. Reduction of bank fee, transaction costs, enable efficient cash management, improve control on budget execution, provide complete and timely information on government cash resources, improve bank reconciliation, improve liquidity. All these are the benefits of e-payment. You can as well as call this benefit as benefit of TSA because e-payment is one of the components of TSA. Benefit of e-collections too is as well as benefit of TSA. TSA have two components, two legs. One is called e-payments, while another one is called what? E-collection. If I were you, I should be able to distinguish between benefit of e-payment and benefit of e-collection. Once you know benefit of e-payment, you know benefit of e-collection. Even in the exam, if you are asked what are the benefits of TSA, you can take either from e-payment or either from e-collection. Any of the two, you can take them as the benefits of TSA. But as a good student, you should know at least 6 benefits of e-collection, 6 benefits of e-payment. So what are the benefits of e-collection? E-collection prevents and detects potential and actual fraud. E-collection improves planning through medium-time expenditure framework. E-collection also improves accuracy cash flow statements. E-collection also supports government budget execution. E-collection improves transparency and accountability of all federal government receipts. E-collection improves transparency and accountability of all federal government receipts. All these are the benefit of what? E-collection. So we have looked at their benefits. Now, let's look at role of Accountant General of the Federation under TSA. What are the role of Accountant General of the Federation under TSA? What role does Accountant General play under TSA? What are the role of Accountant General of the Federation under TSA? Role of Accountant General of the Federation under TSA. Number one role that Accountant General need to do, Accountant General is the chief accountant of the government. Number one role you need to do is to ensure effective implementation of e-collection reform. Is to ensure effective implementation of e-collection reform. Another one is to ensure proper monitoring of e-collection gateway the gateway that government used to collect revenue through TSA, remitter, NIBBS, unified payments, all these accountant general will monitor them to ensure that these people are not diverting government revenue. Is to ensure proper reconciliation of all collection. Accountant general should ensure that they are doing daily bank reconciliation of all collection of every ministry, department, and agency. The reconciliation is very important. Accountant general should be reconciling the accounts. Another one is to provide MDA with periodic report of collection. Accountant general, they will provide NDA with periodic report of collection. Unilag, this is your collection for the month. NIMASA, this is your collection for the month into the TSA account. Accountant general, they will also ensure continuous update of e-collection guideline. Continuous update of what? E-collection guideline and process. Accountant general need to perform that role too. Accountant general, they also need to abide by the provision of MOU signed with the stakeholder. Accountant general need to abide with the provision of what? MOU signed with what? With the stakeholders. This is the role of accountant general under TSA. What is the role of ministry, department, and agency under TSA? Under TSA, what is the role of NIMASA? What is the role of FAN? What is the role of Unilag? What is the role of teaching hospitals? Those people that they are paying, that they are collecting the money on their behalf. I want to pay Unilag my school fees. What role Unilag need to play under this TSA? What role NIMASA need to play if I want to pay NIMASA under the TSA? Each of these government agencies, what are the roles that they need to play? Number one role is to ensure proper book of revenue accounts are maintained. Each of the ministry, department, and agency, they need to maintain proper book of accounts. They need to maintain what? Proper what? Book of accounts. Another role that they need to play is to ensure that receipt is issued anytime you pay to this agency and they have confirmed that you have paid to their TSA account, you have generated your remitter receipt. You will take the receipt to this MDA. MDA, they can issue you their own receipt upon confirmation of the payments. NDA will issue you their own receipt upon what? Confirmation of the payments. NDA, they also have a role to ensure that their internally generated revenue, their IGR, is not diverted. Some of the NDA, they will go and open bank accounts with commercial bank that they will be paying their IGR. This is not good. This should not be diverted. It's very crazy. Another one is to ensure return on revenue performance are rendered promptly. Is to ensure that return on revenue performance are rendered monthly. Every month, NDA should be giving return to the Accountant General on their revenue performance. Is to ensure that idle funds are not invested. Is to ensure that idle funds are invested and the interest generated is transferred to the CRF, Consolidated Revenue Fund. This is the role of who? MDA. What is the role of CBN under TSA? Role of CBN under TSA. What role CBN need to play under TSA? CBN, they will be the one to deployment of gateway for use by other stakeholders. Any gateway that you want to use to make payments to this TSA, the gateway must be approved by the CBN. This gateway must be approved by the CBN. CBN, they also ensure that remitter platform facilitates the transmission of all instruction. All these payment gateway, they have to follow all the instruction, all the rule and regulation laid down by the CBN. CBN should ensure that Treasury single account, they maintain it properly. CBN, they also need to issue guidelines to the deposit money bank on the operation of TSA. CBN, they also need to abide with all the terms and conditions of the operation of TSA. This is the role of CBN under TSA. Now, what is the role of deposit money bank? Deposit money bank means when you want to make payment to TSA, you cannot make payment to TSA direct. You have to generate remitter. Once you generate the remitter, RRR, you have to use one bank. You have to take it to a bank, or you have to use an ATM. You have to take it either to First Bank, to Access Bank, to GTB, or to use one of the commercial bank ATM. All these commercial bank ATM, or all these banks that you take the TSA teller to, they are the deposit money bank. TSA, for you to credit TSA, you have to bring from one bank account of the individual to the TSA. So, deposit money bank, commercial bank, they have a role to play too. One of the roles played by this deposit money bank is to ensure that all payments to government are given prompt attention. They ensure that anytime they want to make TSA payment, people that want to make it when they are in bank, I want to pay to TSA, you give them special attention. You ensure that the money is credited to the TSA. Is to ensure that all collection in favor of federal government are remitted without delay. All these deposit money banks, they also are liaised with Accountant General to ensure smooth operation of TSA. Deposit money bank also are liaised with CBN, MDA to ensure smooth operation of TSA. Deposit money bank, they also need to ensure that all the terms and conditions under the TSA are followed. So this is the role of deposit money bank. What is the role of service provider under TSA? Who are the service provider? The remitter, the NIBF, Unified Payment System, all those payment gateway, they are the service provider. These people, this service provider, one of their role is to work with CBN, Accountant General, and other stakeholders to articulate system requirements to ensure that all the requirements, all the system meet the requirements. This service provider, they also need to provide a robust, stable, and effective integrated processing platform. This service provider, they also need to train the user on the use of payment gateway. This service provider, they also need to provide effective and efficient support to the platform. They need to provide effective and efficient what? Support to the platform. This is one of the role of service provider. So this is the role of service provider. Now, what are the emerging issues in TSA? What are the issues that recent issues that emerge from the TSA? One of the emerging issues, like we said, is one of the challenges of TSA. Some of the NDA, they still have some hidden bank account with commercial bank. Technical issue is one of the emerging issues. Network problem. Sometimes you can't make payment to the TSA on time because the server is down. Political resistance. This is one of the problems of TSA. Some of the ministry, they resist it. They don't want it to work. So how do we address this emerging issue? All these problems, how do we address them? There should be a strict policy to eliminate unauthorized bank account. Any ministry that was caught having bank accounts, commercial bank account, all these ministries, they should sanction them. The ministry should be sanctioned. The head of the ministry should be suspended or should be sacked. The TSA should be upgraded from time to time to meet the IT requirements. The TSA balance should be public. The TSA balance should be known at any time. There should be regular engagement of the stakeholder. Stakeholder support is very key for better TSA. So this is how we can mitigate all these emerging issues in TSA. So ladies and gentlemen, we are done with TSA. One of the tools of public financial management that we are going to look at, one of the emerging issues we are going to look at after TSA is called automated accounting transaction and recording reporting system, ATRRS. ATRRS. ATRRS is an ICT-based accounting application. It's an ICT-based accounting software application which facilitates input of accounting transaction, reconciliation, generation of accounting standard reports that meet the requirement of the standards of the Treasury. This is a software application. It is used by government based on the standard laid down by the Accountant General. It is used to input accounting transaction, financial transaction in government. It is used to carry out bank reconciliation, and it is used to generate reports. This report must be in line with IPSAS, International Public Sector Accounting Standard. Now, what are the benefits of ATRRS accounting software? What benefit do we tend to derive from it? One of the benefits is familiarize the workforce with the use of IT equipment. ATTRS, it helps government to familiarize their workforce with the use of what? IT equipment. ATTRS also reduce training period and requirement for GIFIMS. ATRRS also reduce GIFIMS implementation costs. ATTRR also facilitate ease of reconciliation of various bank accounts. ATTRRS also ensure clean and accurate data will be available for migration into system, into GIFIMS. These are the benefits of ATRRS. What are the emerging issues in ATRRS? One of the emerging issues is delay in posting of transaction. When you don't post transaction on time, ATRRS cannot generate accurate reports. Computer software is garbage in, garbage out. If you don't post, there will not be reports. So it is garbage in, garbage what? Garbage out. Without posting, there will not be report generation. Standardization of chart of accounts. The chart of account of government need to be standardized to be in line with ATRRS. So these are all the emerging issues in ATRRS. One of the tools of public financial management or emerging issue in Nigeria public sector that we will look at today, one of them that we are going to look at, and this is where we are going to stop for today, is called Integrated Personnel Payroll Information System. integrated personnel payroll information system. This is where we are going to stop today. After looking at this, we are going to stop. The rest, we are going to look at them in our next lecture, and we are going to finish them. Integrated personnel payroll information system. It is used to store personnel record of the government. It is used for payroll monitoring of federal government staff. It is used to eliminate payroll fraud. It is used to detect and prevent ghost worker. Before the introduction of IPPIS, there is a lot of ghost worker in government. People collecting salary and they are not working. Some people, for the past 10 years, they have died, but they are still in payroll. They are still collecting government salary. There is thousands. There is a payroll audit that was done by the Accountant General then. They discovered that in federal government have nothing less than 20,000 ghost workers. All these ghost workers, how do we eliminate them? They now introduce IPPIS. What is the objective of IPPIS? One of the objectives of IPPIS is facilitate planning. IPPIS facilitate what? Planning. Facilitate planning. It aid manpower planning. It helps government to plan for their manpower, to plan for their workforce very well. That means it assists human resources management. Another objective of IPPIS is to aid budgets. It helps government budgets. Government will have budget that this is what we are spending on personnel costs. So we can easily know the total personnel costs in a year through IPPIS. IPPIS also monitor payment of staff emoluments. It monitor payment of what? Staff emoluments. IPPIS, another objective is, so let's look at function of IPPIS. Function of IPPIS. Or component of IPPIS. What are the components of IPPIS? Number one, data captured equipment. IPPIS have a data capture equipment that used to capture the data of employee, government employee. It's used to capture the data. That equipment is called biometric enrollment. They use fingerprint. They use eyes capturing. Every 3 months, they normally do this data capturing to know that this staff is still alive. Is one of the components. So another function, IPPIS also it allows salary to be paid direct to the bank account of public servants. The salary of all the civil servants in the federal government now is being managed by IPPIS. It's being managed by who? IPPIS and is paid direct to their bank account. IPPIS also allow third-party agency payments. If you want to pay PENCOM, you want to pay LRS, you want to pay FRS, it allowed that. So these are now, what are the challenges of IPPIS? One of the challenges of IPPIS is most of the modules in the IPPIS application are not being fully utilized. Some of the IPPIS is software on its own, so some of their modules have not been fully utilized. There are some modules that are still not being used up to now. The vendor that developed IPPIS, the vendor, their project management is very weak. The vendor service delivery is not strong. IPPIS may face connectivity challenges because it's a software. That data capturing equipment is a software. It makes use of internet. If there is no internet, if you want to capture government civil servant data, without internet, it cannot work. Most of the IPPIS staff, they are not well trained. IPPIS is now a department on their own under the Office of Head of Civil Service of the Federation. They have a staff. Most of their staff, they are not well trained on how to handle IT software. What are the emerging issues in IPPIS? One of the emerging issues in IPPIS is ghost worker. There's a lot of ghost worker in government. IPPIS coming to address the issue of ghost worker and payroll fraud. Data mismatch. Some of before IPPIS, some people will be claiming a 45-year-old man will be claiming he's 30 years old. His data does not match what is in the record. Some people, they have already late, but in the personnel record, they will be saying they are still alive. Dependence on central payroll. Now, with the use of IPPIS, all the payroll of civil servants in the federal government is now centralized. There is some weaknesses in this biometric equipment. Some of the biometric equipment may fail to authenticate, or they may give wrong authentication. Resistance from institution. Some institutions, especially university, tertiary institution, ASU, they resist IPPIS. They say they will not want it to work, that university should have their own system. That is the reason. Because of IPPIS, ASU went on strike. They say they don't want government to bring IPPIS to university. Now, federal government, to address the agitation of ASU, they now design another one for university. That one is called UTAS, University, what do you call it? We are still going to discuss that one.
University transparency.
It is called what?
University transparency accounting system.
University transparency accounting solution. University transparency accounting solution. Because of the complaint ASU make about IPPIS, that they don't want IPPIS in the university, that they cannot want it and they don't want it to work. They went on strike. Government now they design their own for them. So resistance from institution is one of the ethical issues. How do we address challenges of IPPIS? There needs to be periodic biometric re-enrollment, and we need to check with their national ID. There is another one. We need to carry out forensic payroll audits. Implement high availability infrastructures. These are the solutions to emerging EU in IPPIS. So, ladies and gentlemen, by next week, we are going to look at government integrated financial management system, GIFIMS, and some other one. So this is where we are going to stop today. Do we have any question, any query?